So, new recording setup, obviously. Hopefully, one of the last ones that I will do, and then for the most part, it'll just be adjusting the background. There. Although it is pretty fitting that I am recording these with low effort, because hey, I can go ahead and get a frickin' blanket or something to cover that wall, because then hey, that'll actually be the effort that's necessary when we actually get to Millennium World. But for now, now we gotta talk about the KC Grand Prix. Ugh. Alright, alright. So, let's start with the obvious. Why is there another filler arc after we just got out of a 40-episode filler arc? Well, Kazuki Takahashi's health was kind of failing him at this point, so Gallup effectively needed to stall for a few more months in order to give him the time to, get moving on the on the Millennium World arc in the manga. So, okay, hey, standard fare, cool, and they gave him that opportunity. The problem was that they didn't do anything with it. Now, I have no evidence to predict this, but we are effectively going to be going through. I said it's like 14 episodes of this series series, and then we're going to be going, and then and then the rest of the series is going to happen. For the record, these are episodes 185 and 186, and you can kind of do the math, meaning that we're going to be starting the Millennium World arc at approximately episode uh, one and 199, right? Now, why is that significant? Because there's only 25 at that point. There's only 25 episodes left of the entire show. Yeah, yeah, we're down to the wire now, guys. We're in the home stretch now at this point. I think the biggest thing for me regarding all of this, as I make sure I didn't hit go live, if by mistake, the okay. Let me go ahead and just say this. There is no nice way to say this. The KC Grand Prix is not an arc that I am in favor of, for incredibly obvious reasons. The main point, the main reason being is that this is such a wasted opportunity arc, which only got more true now that I've gone through the Doma arc with my critical eye, right? Now that I've gazed upon Doma with a critical eye, I can honestly tell you, yeah, no. Oh, this is such a missed opportunity. Because think of it this way. We only have 16 episodes, or sorry, 14 episodes. I keep saying the number wrong because so roughly 14 to 16 episodes, and they will do nothing. I'm dead serious. Here's the matchups that we're going to see throughout this entire thing. I guess spoilers for the entirety of the arc, right? Right. We have Yugi versus the Duel computer, right in this first two-parter. The next two-parter is going to be about Joey going up against Grandpa. Look, you're not fucking fooling anybody. Eddie Mask the Rock, which the name is even stupider in the frickin' dub because it's literally just Grandpa backwards, Grandpa Moto backwards. Like, Who the fuck are you trying to fool, dude? God damn it. I mean, even Yugi in this episode is just like, what the hell is he doing here? Here, because both of Tim and Yugi are like, what's he doing here? Because it's incredibly obvious who it is. I mean, Anzu even says that in the episode preview for part one of Let the Games Begin, and it's like in the sub, it's like, wait, it's completely obvious who this is. What the hell? you know. Uh, of course, there's going to be some slight shenanigans, when it comes to the duel next week. But we'll get to that obviously next week. I should also mention that, yeah, so far this is a thing where like nothing is different between the two versions. Hell, the names are almost all identical between the English and the Japanese versions. I didn't notice any differences. Granted, I wasn't paying that much attention, but still, not that it matters because we are literally not. I'm pretty sure we're not going to see. I don't think we see the doctor duel at all. I don't think we see the detective duel at all. I'm 99% sure we don't see that biker dude Ethan King frickin' duel at all. Oh, because here are the matchups that we're gonna be that are in this. Okay, so Joey's gonna go up against Grandpa Moto. Then in Rebecca is gonna duel Vivian. Then then Joey is gonna be humiliated by Siegfried in a duel that I have always fucking hated, but we'll touch on that when we get there. Then Leon will duel Rebecca. Eka, then at the same time, Vivian will duel Yugi in a kind of an exposition match that is probably going to be way better dubbed for me because of one particular line from a Tim, when he explains Dark Paladin's effect. And then Kaiba's going to take on Siegfried, and then Yugi and Leon will duel in the final match. And that's it. That's it. Now, the reason why I say this is a missed opportunity is this should have been like, okay. Here's the thing. Instead of introducing Vivian Wong, the worst fucking character in all of Yu-Gi-Oh, definitely the worst character of all of DM. I guess I shouldn't say worst character of all of Yu-Gi-Oh, but as of right now, worst fucking character in all of Yu-Gi-Oh. And I don't mean like, most evil or most punchable or any of that. No, 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 no. We're talking like the worst. Like the worst example of get this fucking horror the fuck off my screen. And yes, I am gonna go so far as to call Vivian One a whore because as she demonstrates that in this very episode. It's like, oh hey Yugi, you're famous. I'm going to dote on you, and even in apply in the Japanese version that I want to effectively be romantic with you. Oh wait, there's Kaiba over there. I'm gonna immediately beeline for him out right after. It's like fuck off. Or as soon as I see him, it's like fuck off. Pick a lane and stay in it. Ain't it, cunt? I just wish you didn't pick the fucking rivalry with Rebecca nonsense because we did not need another fucking love interest for Yugi. We didn't. Especially when we have a freaking dangling plot thread sitting right there. The KC Grand Prix should not have excluded Mai. Now, I know that in universe, in the Japanese version, Jinochi actually asks Mokuba, "Hey, did you invite Mai?" And Mokuba confirms, "We did try, but we couldn't get a hold of her." Now, Okay, you've got an in-universe explanation. Cool. Why the fuck did you write that? Write it like that? No, seriously, why the fuck did you write it about like that? And the thing is you can't even fully. I can't even fully justify the whole idea. Well, this was meant to be a breather arc, Blue Wolf. Well, if they didn't want to deal with the heavy baggage of Doma, Atem literally starts this arc by saying that the memories of everything that has happened for the past 40 episodes is vividly in his mind, including how he hurt Yugi. You can't have Atem acknowledge it and then just throw away the golden opportunity to follow up with Mai. Right, and not expect it to feel fucking disjointed. Ain't it? I feel like that's kind of one of the reasons why this arc has as much of an infamous reputation as it does for being one of the worst arcs in all of Yu-Gi-Oh! Right? Like I got to imagine that it's probably only rivaled by, in terms of like the fandom's hate for it. I would argue it's probably on par with something like uh frickin' the Battle Beasts in Arc 5, or the the end arc of Arc 5. I should really try not to pick on Arc 5 too much. Uh but I can't think of any arc in GX that's hated. I mean, maybe Crashtown, but I think that's more of people just getting annoyed at Crashtown and kind of weird sudden hard shift into being a western. We'll get there. You know, I mean, if you're a dub watcher, then the final stretch of the series is just like, what the fuck was that shit? But yeah. Oh, we'll get to the insanity that is 5D's wonkiness of what episodes were included and excluded from the dub. It's fucking wild. There is literally an entire duel in 5Ds during where they had dubbed that they didn't actually dub. So if you're ever wondering, hey, I don't remember that sleeping giant monster that's stupidly hard to summon being used in 5Ds, that's because you're a dub. That's because you only seen it in the dub. Yeah, not fun. Not fun. And, uh, but yeah, no. Excluding Mai was really, really fucking stupid. And the worst part is that she's going to have a cameo. I know about the goddamn cameo. Oh, and then the next time we'll see her will be during the end credits of the final episode in the sub, where she'll be dueling on the great against the Paradox Brothers on the Great Wall of China, with Vivian as her dueling partner. Tell me again how the hell the writers understand Mai's character again, because I'm not fucking seeing it. But anyways, that's enough bitching. Let's actually discuss some interesting uh plot points, shall we? So the gang are basically stranded in America, which they actually don't realize until Duke basically asks, "So how long are you guys going to be able to stay? Hey, when's your flight?" And they realize, "Oh wait, Pegasus was the one that got us out here. We don't have a way home." Which actually kind of pulls up two plot holes, in my opinion. Plot hole number one: why is Pegasus unable to just forward them plane tickets home? as thanks for saving his ass. As I drop my pen. Why can't Pegasus do that? Or Kaiba? He claims in the frickin' sub in this episode, oh yeah, I guess I do kind of owe them, which he repays by inviting them to the tournament. What? Okay. I mean, hell, Mokuba even puts that in both versions as the price for the plane ticket home. Participation in the tournament is their ticket home, and it's like, okay, how is that you doing them a favor? What the hell? Ugh. No. One thing I do find interesting that so Mokuba shows up. Uh, gives them this because he's a because Kaiba Corp is effectively using the KC Grand Prix, or the Kaiba Corp Grand Championship as it's called. That's why the dub gives this thing the subtitle of Grand Championship, by the way. Hey, uh they're using it effectively as a boost. And I got to admit, I like how the idea comes about in the dub more than in the sub, because in the sub, it's all Seto's idea to try and boost the reputation. In the dub, it is basically stated flat out that it's Mokuba that that comes up with the idea of, hey, let's throw a Duel Monsters tournament. Let's make it as big as Battle City was, if not bigger, and then start to gain the positive reputation again. And it starts working. So kudos there. You know, I like that idea because I like the idea of Mokuba actually making a business decision that benefits Kaiba Corp, right? Also, it's kind of funny that it's implied that the Kaiba land that the KC Grand Prix is held at is the first in the dub, and the first American one in the sub. So just a little bit of food for thought. Also, I really don't like the failure of the dub. It's funny because the dub kind of fails with some of the voice acting, and the sub fails with dialogue. For example, when they're talking about how they're going to whether or not they should stay, I prefer in the dub how Atem just looks at Yugi and is like, "Dude, I've been waiting for thousands of years to go back to the afterlife. A few more days, so we aren't dealing with massive world-threatening crap every single time. Would be kind of nice. Let's take a few days off. We're on vacation, right? Right? Hey, we can go to this tournament. We can have fun, and you know." Let's not deprive ourselves of fun. That'd be silly. So, and so the invitations are put out. 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 And what I find interesting is that Yugi, Rebecca, and Joey are all invited. Meaning that it was always the intention to invite Joey. Now, I know they make the gag of "Who are you?" in both, which I still fucking hate. I'm so sick and tired of the show fucking pissing and shitting all over Joey, both Joey and Jinochi, and this arc is just going to do nothing but that. Expect that to lower the score in pretty much all of these. Like, this one got a C rank, and that's just because I actually like the duel in this one. The problem here's the problem. Here's the problem. I guess let's talk about Joey. The problem with treating Joey like an idiot is that there was so much heart and soul in what Joey was doing throughout the entirety of the Doma arc, right? Even in the Japanese version, which I disagreed with some of his sentiments, right? Not leaving without Yugi and Ryuzaki. I preferred the Yugi and my thing myself, but that still shows that he was determined and that he was that he was getting a freaking yawn attack. Mm. That showed that he was, for all intents and purposes, a fighter, right? It's actually, and you don't even necessarily have to can the underdog joke that both versions do. The underdog joke can actually work if we actually see him effectively overcome great obstacles, right? Like, how much of a massive upset would it be if Siegfried showed up just before, say Joey and Leon were about to fight in the final match, and and just have, instead of having Yugi be the one to win again, because Yugi's got to be Yugi. You know what I would have it be? You know what, honestly, one change I would actually make? I'd combine the final two duels, but I wouldn't have it be. I would not have it be. Uh, Kaiba versus Siegfried. I'd have it be both Kaiba and Joey kind of teaming up, right? There was a rewrite that kind of just replaced it so that Joey would be the one to face Leon in the final match, and he'd be able to figure out a way to get rid of the Golden Castle Stromberg or Strongberg or Stronghold or whatever. Here, and he's and he would and he would overcome it based on luck, because of the way that it works. But we'll get to. But I'm getting way too far ahead of myself, right? Effectively, I would have this be Joey's arc. I would give Joey this arc and effectively have him be the one winning at every opportunity. Hell, you even set up for that right at the beginning of right near the end of the second episode, because Yugi is being singled out as the final boss of the tournament instead of being a participant, which is actually kind of cool in its own right. Right. So they head off to Kaiba Land, and Kaiba Dome is shown off, as is the dual computer. This is where we're introduced to Leon, actually, for the first time. And then Yugi gives the kid Rick the Heart of the Underdog spell card. Which is funny because they actually say in the dub that he has no spell cards in there because we don't see any. But he actually does have one that was in there before, at least only one that we saw. But then Siegfried hacks. The system, which apparently has actually. There's actually a point in the sub where it even contains Jinochi's data as well, which is good because it should. Joey is one of the top duelists of the entire world. Fourth place of Battle City is nothing to shake a stick at. Battle City was a massive tournament held by one of the two most pristine, things that should count for something. And again, and it goes right back to the point of Kaiba fixing the results, which, actually, fun fact, if you actually subscribe to my theory of Kaiba fixed the Battle City qualification results, well, guess who mellowed the hell out? Because remember, this tournament is invitation. The invitations need to be sent out. Now, that could just be Mokuba was in charge of the invitations and he sent one to Joey. and Kaiba was just like, oh, whatever. But I like to think he basically did the exact same thing I said. If he loses, it's out of my hands. I'm too fucking busy, you know? So then Yugi goes to take over to deal with the dual computer, and that leads us into part two. Who? So then so Yugi is effectively struggling the entire time uh because he is just because he's only got like a weak dragon deck. Granted, the dual computers deck is whatever the hell that nonsense is. It's got a couple of good moves, cost down to get a level 5 monster with piercing battle damage out, the Slate Warrior sacrifice, he's, Berserk Gorilla being a powerful monster that dies to block attack. No, seriously, read Berserk Gorilla's effect sometime. But yeah, I didn't really put any of the cards in here, not even Sinister Serpent in my notes, because I'm not gonna really because the only card to really talk about is Heart of the Underdog, which we'll get to in a minute. So they're going through, and then finally Heart of the Underdog is brought out. Jinzo has to be defended against with Baby Dragon. Baby Dragon gets slaughtered, but then Heart of the Underdog starts activating. And I love how I put in my notes, draw Monster Cardo, because that's effectively what Yugi does, right? Because what Heart of the Underdog does is that it allows you to, every time you draw a normal card, you can reveal that normal monster, and then draw another card, right? So the first one that he draws is Curse of Dragon. So he draws Curse of Dragon, then he draws Komori Dragon, then he draws in the sub he draws Hyozanru, then he draws Crawling Dragon and Blackland Fire Dragon. Again, they don't mention Hyozanru in the dub, but they do mention Crawling Dragon and Blackland Fire Dragon, right? Then the drawing stops when he draws Spirit Rue, and so Spirit Rue is played on the board. And Yugi uses his effect to discard 6 dragons, beef it up to 7,000, and blast the supercomputer and effectively one shot. Right? It's not an official OTK, but effectively, if Yugi hadn't done any damage prior, it would have been an OTK right then and there. Here, fun fact. So then after that, Kaiba shows up to after the callback to the gag back in season 2. Who one of the one where Yugi switched over to a Tem and humiliated him. Well, a Tem gets his payback. Little help here, Yugi. Yugi switches immediately to Yugi and just checkens out. Love it. Love it. So then Joey is getting pissy at Kaiba. I love Kaiba in the dub. The way Eric Stewart delivers the line, "Settle down, you underdog." It's so good. So then Siegfried von Schroeder and the other duelists show up for the final scene. Yugi's grandpa is not fooling anybody, as I said. And we're introduced to all of the duelists. Duelists. Oh yeah, one last thing I should talk about mention with Siegfried is, wow, is he more obnoxious in the sub? Like seriously, this is a dude who literally bathes in a mineral bath, and then has his maids fully dress him. Like, no, we literally see he's freaking stark naked. It's like, Master Zeke, it is time for us to go. And so he's like, all right. And he stands up and he literally, he takes off his robe. He's completely stark naked. And so his maids effectively clothe him. Wow. Like, what is he hung like a horse so they actually get a nice view of who while they're dressing him? I mean, at least I hope there's good pay on top of that, especially considering that his entire staff of maids have to fucking line the road to go to the frickin' exit of his castle while cheering "Safe travels, Master Zieg" over and over and over again until he boards the plane, or at the very least until he exits the castle. It's like, what the fuck? But that's it. That's that's the first opening two. That is the opening two-parter of the KC Grand Prix. Done. Fuck. That's that's all I gotta say about this opening two-parter is just fuck. I don't even know how much the camera's been going in and out of focus the entire time, so I guess I'll see. God, that would suck having to re-record this, but oh well. So if there's been a lot of camera lack of focus, I apologize. I'm probably gonna fix that at some point and just get a freaking get a camera. I was actually looking at a couple of pics of that or like choices for that on Amazon, but we will see. But all I know is that I am done with this episode, and it's time to move on to the next two-parter. With an opponent where it's incredibly obvious who the fuck it is. We. Until next time, this is Blue Wolf Alex of the Lore Walkers signing out. It's weird to be able to say this finally, but Duel stand by.